Just take their blessings, correct? So it's called Mangalacharan. So before starting a class, we do this small Mangalacharan prayers, which we'll do. You will see that in the introduction, in the first page of the introduction. Okay. So till now, whenever we were doing Gita in Nutshell series, I used to just chant one mantra, right, and used to immediately start. But now we have no hurry, right, because we have good time. That time it was 8 sessions. And you will see, slowly, so it's like a pyramid. See, we send this Gita in nutshell to everyone, whoever wants to participate. Only some of them will participate. Out of that, the next level will be Bhagavad Gita. You will see more or less people. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that millions and millions of people are there, but very rarely there will be very few people who really want to understand what is the goal of life. Right? There will be very few people. And most of them will say, don't ask this question, very dangerous question. Right? People are running. Imagine in a train you are sitting, right? And a passenger just boards the train and asks you, so where are you going? You say, I don't know. Okay, from where have you boarded the train? I don't know. What are you doing here? I don't know. You might call that person a madman. But our situation is like that. If we are asked, what is the goal of life? What I want to do at the end of the life? I mean, what is next life? I don't know. Right? From where we have come? I don't know. Right? So why are we doing what we are doing? I don't know. Right? So Bhagavad has answers for that. So we'll try to see what we did till now was a very, very sankshipt. In a summarization, we did the entire Bhagavad Gita. It was actually not Bhagavad Gita. It was more like the cream of all the scriptures we understood in 8 sessions. Now, in this 18 session, we are going to discuss about Bhagavad Gita. And today, specifically, we are not going to discuss, we are not starting from the chapter 1. What we are instead doing is, we'll be just giving a small introduction to Bhagavad Gita and how the entire chapter flows, entire book, how the other chapters are going. It happens, right? Sometimes you have got a new book, brand new, there's a smell of new book just opened as it is. Right? When you open the book, first thing what you will do, you will see the contents of the book, right? So we'll just see the contents of the book today.
So you have like 18 sessions for 18 chapters?
That's the goal. Usually, earlier we used to conduct one verse per session. And the first verse, we took 3 sessions. We took almost 4 hours just to discuss the first verse. And then, you know how many verses we completed in 3 years? I think we completed only 1 chapter. Only 1 chapter we completed. And I felt that was also a big deal, the way we were going. But then, this time I thought maybe we'll try something new. We'll just try to complete one chapter. And at least we can cover the entire breadth-wise. But we'll go, that also will be a little fast. But it's okay. We'll see how it goes. Then we might go a little deep next time. At the end, one devotee asked once that how is spiritual knowledge? Like material knowledge is how? You do senior KG, then you do junior KG, then you first, second, third, you go till 10th standard. Then you do engineering, then you do masters, then you do PhD, then you do postdoc, right? So it goes linear, right? Material knowledge goes linear. You are learning, right? Spiritual knowledge is not like that. Spiritual knowledge, when devotee is mentioning, it goes spiral. So, whatever we learn in these 8 sessions, you will be almost learning the same things. But it will be spiral, so again you will see the same things, but the depth will increase now. Right? Same things we are going to discuss, but in more deeper level. Some things like, for example, during the classes you used to raise your hands and say, no, don't ask question now. Right? Now we have no hurry. You can ask questions, you can raise your hands and we'll discuss. And today we'll just go through the flow, how the Bhagavad Gita is done. Okay. So first what we'll do is, obviously before starting, we will pray to Lord Krishna, we'll pray to Acharyas who have painstakingly written this book. So introduction, if you go to introduction, everybody is able to. Everybody will to see introduction. Yeah. So those verses that you are seeing, we'll discuss that sometime in the future in detail. But for now, we'll just read the verses. That's it. Okay, and it might be difficult for you to read those verses, but it's okay, right? So when child, I mean, it happens, right? A, B, C, D becomes difficult, but slowly when you read, I mean, I remember one first time I was reading, I literally felt that this is Spanish, not even Sanskrit. It was so bouncer for me. Right? But practice. Krishna says, Abhyasa ye to kaunteya. Just by practice one can learn things. So we will just do introduction, verses. It is around 10 verses, first and second page. We'll just do that much. And then we'll start the monologue on Bhagavad Gita. Okay. We'll sing together. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathamritam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Once there were two people. They were trying to do some labor work. Sometimes we say road construction. So one guy was digging the hole and taking the mud out one at a time. Digging the hole, taking the mud out. Big like this. Digging the hole, taking the mud out. Digging the hole, taking the mud out. And there was another person. He was putting the dirt back into that hole. So one was digging the mud, taking the mud out, trying to create a hole, and the other person was putting the dirt back into the hole. He was doing one at a time at different places. These two guys were doing, and then one guy was just walking by and he said, what are they doing? There is a lot of things to enjoy with. I mean, what is this kind of enjoyment? Taking the dirt out, other guys putting the dirt. I mean, gym you can go. There are so many things to do if you really want to, maximize your muscle. But why this thing? So he asked that what happened. One guy is putting the dirt out, and other guy is putting it back. He said, actually, the first person I am supposed to take the dirt out. There is a second person that's supposed to be there who is supposed to plant the seed, and the third person is supposed to put the dirt back. The second person is on holiday. So we both are doing our job, right? Our life is like that only, right? We discussed about that. Why we are doing, we don't know. right? Like two guys were doing the things, the middle guy was missing, and they felt it's okay, we will do our job, right? We will do our job. So the missing link in our life is Krishna, spirituality. That's what this entire Bhagavad Gita is based on. If that missing link, if we don't understand what is that missing link, then our situation is like that. We will be just doing things, putting back, one life after another. So this entire Bhagavad Gita is actually explaining us to understand that missing link. Right? We are very, very fortunate actually that we have got this chance to read Bhagavad Gita. She also looks like feeling like that. So yeah, we are very fortunate actually that we have got this chance to read Bhagavad Gita. There are very rare people you see. Most of the people on Thursday evening, tomorrow is Friday, so already they will be in enjoyment mode, right? Maybe they will be in some disc, some bar, somewhere, right? They will be somewhere there. And very few people will be there in this world. You see, I would have put an advertisement that we are going to have a bar or something. See, there will be a huge line, right? And Krishna says the same thing, that there will be very, very few people who really wants to understand what exactly is the goal of life. Very few people will want to understand. So in the next 18 sessions that we are going to do, one chapter that we are going to do, every chapter will have some acronym. So that acronym will flow through the chapter. Like the first chapter, the acronym will be doubt. Because Arjuna is in doubt. We will see that, what doubt. And we will flow through that entire Bhagavad Gita. So 18 chapters, 18 acronyms. You will be able to remember then what that flow is. And second thing that you are going to do through these 18 chapters is every chapter will explain one of the excuses that people have and how to surpass that excuse. So basically we'll be also doing surpassing 18 excuses through these 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. We'll see one excuse for practicing spirituality. Like what is the most basic excuse that each and every person have in this world? If you ask them, please come for Gita class. What is the most basic?
Don't have time.
No time. Right? We don't have time. This is a standard question. You ask anyone, they will say this, no time. Right? They will have time for everything except reading Bhagavad Gita. They have no time for that. Right? They might, in the evening, if they don't have anything, they'll just keep swiping Facebook, they will swipe something, Instagram, maybe something like that. All those time they will have, but they will have no time. Imagine the person, forget, let's say for a second, you might not have complete faith that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, let's say. But still, a sane man, when he steps out of the house, and he sees top, he sees star, he sees moon, at least one person should come and think, a sane person, from where all this is coming? Kahan se hai ye sab? Right? From where all this is coming? And that question should force a person to think that I want to find answer. He might not get the answer, let's say, somehow, but at least that curiosity should be there that I want to find the answer. And then that's where the journey begins of the sadhaka. It is said in scriptures. Athato Brahma Jigyasa, we discussed it in the Gita in a nutshell. The first thing, the Vedanta Sutras, it's one of the most difficult books, Vedanta Sutras. It is considered as the summarization of all the Vedic scriptures, Vedanta Sutras. And then Vedanta Sutras summarization was done, commentary on Vedanta Sutra was written as Srimad Bhagavatam. So what you read, what you have, not Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, it's an 18-volume book, 12 cantos. So that book is a commentary on Vedanta Sutra. And Vedanta Sutra, the first verse, first line it says is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Now is the time to inquire. But we have no time. I'm so busy. So like this, there will be 18 more excuses. 17 more. You can think. Maybe when you go back home, you can think, "Arey, aur kya excuse?" Many excuses are there. Like another excuse can be, if I come here, log kya kahenge? What will people say that, "Arey, kya क्या कर रहे हैं? What are you doing? Right? So that is one thing people might think, that what, like sometimes when I came first in Krishna consciousness, and I was distributing these books like this. I was distributing Bhagavad Gita, and when I was distributing Bhagavad Gita, then first time I was in the table. I mean, I was standing near the table. My wife Manjari, she was sitting there with Kishori. So she was very enthusiastic, but I was very very scared कि किसी ने देख लिया तो कचरा हो जाएगा. So for 2-3 minutes I was standing there. Then I told my wife that I think that I am not feeling well. थोड़ा headache हो रहा है. So you do books if you want to do. I'll sit in the car. And with that entire 2 hours while she was trying to distribute books, I was in the car sitting, thinking that कोई दोस्त ने देख लिया तो फिरकी लग, मतलब फिरकी लेगा. He laugh at me. So there are various reasons, right? Another reason can be that this is not for me. This is too intellectual. This is too intellectual for me, right? It is too intellectual for me. Or another reason people have is, it's for old people, right? It's for old people. This is another reason. For every reason, there is one chapter, and it's not like I will just randomly put one. Actually, Krishna explains in that chapter one excuse. So we will go through those 18 chapters. We will see those 18 verses. 18 excuses like that. So yeah, we'll just go through that. Now what we'll do is we'll go through the 18 chapters and we will see. The first thing that, one of the most misconception that people have about Bhagavad Gita is that it's a mythology, right? And especially it is coined by Britishers, Americans, authors. It's a Hindu mythology. It's a Hindu mythology. The people who are writing commentary on Bhagavad Gita is also saying it's a mythology. What does mythology mean? Myth. Study of something which has never happened. And you won't believe, even Hindus, for the matter, say it's a mythology, Hindu mythology, right? And then they'll go to temple and then they'll worship Lord Ramachandra or Krishna or whoever. But they are thinking it's a mythology. It's so deep rooted. That concept is so deep rooted by obviously when we saw that video, right, during Gita in Nutshell, that how Britishers, when they came, first thing they wanted to cut was the culture, because the culture was the strength, the spiritual culture that we have in India, that was the strength. And to break India thought process, the first thing that has to be cut is not their education actually. First thing is the spiritual culture. So they immediately made it like it's a mythology. And slowly now you see in the name of secularism, this, that, completely it has gone now. Now people think that if you're a atheist, then you are good. Right? So that is the situation. But here we see that Krishna is emphatically saying that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We will see that throughout the Bhagavad Gita. But we understand that first thing that you have to understand, in science there is something called axioms. Sometimes we say that it's not a scientific theory. This is not science, right? Bhagavad Gita is not science. Spirituality is not science. But in science also, to prove something, there are axioms. Axioms means you start with some assumption. Similarly, in Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada starts with an axiomatic truth in terms of science. But actually it's an assumption. And the assumption is that you have to understand Bhagavad Gita. You can understand Bhagavad Gita only when you assume, you take it at face value that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. That Krishna is Bhagwan. And for many of us we think, this is one very big assumption. But you'll see that throughout the book, that one assumption if you have, you'll be able to prove entire cosmology, everything. Just with one assumption. And we do that in science also. In science we have axioms that we discuss. Axioms means we are starting something with assumptions. Big Bang Theory. There is proof? No. It started with some assumption. The axioms. Right? So like that. So it is explained here in Bhagavad that it is actually not a mythology. It's not study of myths, but it is actually, it has happened. Then people have misconception that Bhagavad Gita is for Hindus, right? It's for Hindus only, it's for Indians only. But that is also not true. In entire Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has never said to Arjuna, Arjuna, you are a Hindu or you are an Indian, so I am speaking this Bhagavad Gita to you. Right? He has never spoken like that. Also, a lot of times, another reason why people think it's a mythology, because they think that till 2500 years back or 2000 years back, they have the recordings, right? Like Christianity, if you see, they will say, yeah, because Bible is there. Oh, that is not mythology. But for Bhagavad Gita, was spoken 5000 years back, they consider that mythology. But we see that it is actual science, because actually it has happened. So, the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita talks about redefining success. Redefining success. What does it mean by redefining success? We have 3R. How many have watched that movie 3R? I have not watched, but I have heard about it. RRR. So today's session we will have RRRR, RRRR. We will have 8 R's. 8 R's throughout the entire, we'll divide the entire 18 chapters into 8 R's. And every R will discuss that what each section is talking about throughout the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. The first R, that is the first chapter, that is redefining success. It's amazing that for many of us, success, if you ask what the success means, right? So some might say that success means earning a lot of money. How much money you have in bank balance, that means you're successful. I mean, if you have $1 million in your bank account, you're successful. Right? Some people have that kind of definition of success. Some people might have definition of success as once you become the VP of the company, then you're successful. Right? Or once you're married by this age, then you're successful. Or it could be anything, right? But because Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains that because one has wrong definition of success, one's life becomes frustrated. Because of the wrong definition of success. And the first chapter is actually redefining success. What exactly success means? Arjuna in the first chapter is in that doubt only. According to him, success means that you should have your family members along with you till the end of your life. For him, that is success. And Krishna will thwart that success completely in the future chapters. For him, success means when you are enjoying, your relatives should be there. That's when it is success. Success means if you live a pious life, that means you are successful. But according to Krishna, you see Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying no, that is not the definition of success. So first chapter is actually talking about redefining the success. What does success actually mean? And then in that chapter, Arjuna is telling 4 things that why he should not fight. CEFD, you can remember like this. CEFD, compassion, and then enjoyment with family members. If there is no kingdom remaining, basically they were in the fight, right? There is no kingdom remaining. With whom will they fight? I mean, with whom they will enjoy, right? Basically, they will be destroyed. The Kauravas will be destroyed. They will be remaining. Pandavas, Arjuna. He will have his kingdom, but with whom? See, you cannot leave alone in the. Let's say I tell you this is your entire palace, but you are going to stay alone for time memorial now. For next 100 years, you will be staying alone in that palace. How many of you want that kind of situation? Nobody, right? You want to enjoy with someone. Correct? So Arjuna is saying that all my brothers, everyone will be killed. So with whom will I enjoy? Third, he says fear of sinful reactions. Right? Fear of sinful reactions. That I said, right? Piety. For some people, it might be success is piety. If they have led a pious life, that means they are successful. So he also said the same thing, that sin will come upon me. We'll discuss that more in detail in the next session when we start with the first chapter. And fourth thing he says is that if ancestors are not there, then destruction of family traditions. Right? See, when we want to do something, whom we ask, our parents, right? What are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to do? Right? But if they are only not there, then what will happen? Right? So the first chapter talks about redefining success. The second chapter, it talks about rediscovering your identity. Rediscovering your identity. If you see, we have many masks that we have put. I mean, not this mask. Yes, this also. But we have many masks. One of the masks is, I'm an Indian, I'm an American. On top of it, I have done my master's from so and so. This is one of the masks. I am from this company. This is one mask. So like this, Arjuna also had many masks. I'm supposed to become king of the emperor world, but at the same time, I'm a brother of Duryodhana, right? I am also the niece of their sons, right? So he has also many masks. And then Krishna, one at a time, is removing all that mask and telling him, at the end, what you are is a spirit soul. Deino yasmita dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tata dehantar praptir dhiras tatra namuyati. That you have to understand, Arjuna, that at the end you have to understand who you are. You are a spirit soul, rediscovering your identity, because we have lost ourselves in this nice Bay Area, right? Feel that this working in a company, having a family is all in all. But Krishna is telling that to Arjuna, you have to understand first. The first thing, first thing about spirituality, first thing that Krishna tells to Arjuna, when in first chapter Krishna doesn't speak only. Krishna doesn't speak in first chapter. He's just listening to Arjuna. Arjuna's sort of crying or whatever you may call it. He's just listening. Bolte raho, See, a good listener is who is a good advisor, who can listen also. See, a lot of times what happens is some person is telling one thing, immediately, do this. But a good listener is, a good advisor is one who listens for a long time and then one is advising. Correct? So Krishna is like that. Krishna is listening for the first chapter, nothing he said. In the second chapter he is saying that you're not understanding the basics of spirituality. You're not this body, you're a spirit soul. And we discussed in entire Gita in a nutshell, right? Why we are saying that. If you're this body, then when someone is leaving, then why are you crying? He's still there. Then who left? He's still there, then who left? Correct? And we obviously did various proofs and all were there that we discussed in the fourth session. In the fourth session we discussed that. Okay. So, we're not this body, we're the spirit soul. One question that might come is that there are so many different commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. Right? Why should I read only this commentary as it is? Okay. There are so many commentaries. From my time, my father also had one commentary. My father's father also had one commentary. Why should I read only this commentary? Correct. The answer is in preface. So we'll read little bit since we have been discussing so much. Preface. So I did not cover purposely setting the scene because I'm expecting all of you know, right? Why Bhagavad Gita was spoken? Forget why Bhagavad Gita was spoken. Where it was spoken and what happened because of which this entire Kurukshetra war was happening. Everybody knows, right? Okay, so we will not discuss that. So that is in setting the scene. Okay, we are skipping that. The next is preface. Preface is, you can say, before the introduction. And in that, the third paragraph, we read the entire paragraph. That paragraph actually tells you that why Srila Prabhupada's book, the book that he has written, the commentary that he has written, is the best or it is the most authentic. Okay. Who wants to volunteer? Okay, Sally, you will read. Yeah.
If personal, that one, right? Sorry.
Yes. Everybody is there?
Yes. If personally I have any credit in this matter, it is only that I have tried to present Bhagavad Gita as it is, without any adulteration. Before my presentation of Bhagavad Gita as it is, almost all the English editions of Bhagavad Gita were introduced to fulfill someone's personal ambition. But our attempt in presenting Bhagavad Gita as it is to present the mission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Our business is to present the will of Krishna, not that of any mundane speculator like the politician, philosopher or scientist, for they have very little knowledge of Krishna despite all their other knowledge. When Krishna says, Man mana bhagmat bhakto, Madhyaji Mam Namaskaru, etc. We, unlike the so-called scholars, do not say that Krishna and his inner spirit are different. Krishna is absolute, and there is no difference between Krishna's name, Krishna's form, Krishna's qualities, Krishna's pastimes, etc. This absolute position of Krishna is difficult to understand for any person who is not a devotee of Krishna in the system of parampara, the cyclic succession. Generally, the so-called scholars, politicians, philosophers and swamis, without perfect knowledge of Krishna, try to banish or kill Krishna when writing commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. Such unauthorized commentary upon Bhagavad Gita is known as Mayavad Bhashya, and Lord Chaitanya has warned us about these unauthorized men. Lord Chaitanya clearly says that anyone who tries to understand Bhagavad Gita from the Mayavadi point of view will commit a great blunder. The result of such a blunder will be that the misguided student of Bhagavad Gita will certainly be bewildered on the path of spiritual guidance and will not be able to go back to home, back to Godhead.
Yeah, thank you. So here, what is the reason? Because, see the humility, Srila Prabhupada, he is the Acharya. But what is he writing in the first line? That the any credit that you can give to me of writing this book is that I have not added or subtracted anything from what I have heard from my previous Acharyas. It's not like, so a lot of times there is a concept, I don't know whether you have heard, it's called armchair philosophy. You know armchair philosophy? Armchair philosophy means you will be sitting in an armchair nicely, like how we have office chairs, nicely, and then in one hand you will have a cigar and you will be discussing on Bhagavad Gita. What is Bhagavad Gita talking about? That is called armchair philosophy. Right? In that you will have your own, there are different kind of biases. There is different kind of biases. One is called anchor bias. Anchor bias is the first thing that you have heard in your life, you will take that as full on and on. Then the second type of bias is known as repetitive bias. You have heard the same thing again, and that's why you have started to believe that. That's called repetitive bias. Third type of bias is self-serving bias. You have a philosophy, but that philosophy is making your life better. Better in the sense that you have an excuse through that philosophy to do what you're doing. That's called as self-serving philosophy. So the armchair philosophers, when they write any commentaries, you will see a lot of times a person is writing commentary on Bhagavad Gita, he himself is a smoker or is a drinker. In such situations, if they are writing Bhagavad Gita, how can we even have trust or faith, right? So one Acharya said, how can you understand whether this is authentic or not? He says that the author of the book should be addicted to Krishna, because this book is about Krishna. The teachings about Krishna. If you don't have any love for Krishna, like many commentators, when they write Bhagavad Gita, what they do is they write Bhagavad Gita, but they say that Krishna is just some energy. It's just an energy. A lot of times we say, right, who is Lord? Some energy, right? Krishna is some energy, and you can become Krishna. Once you have realized who you are, you can become Krishna. That is Mayavad philosophy. See, here he is saying Mayavad Bhashya. Once I was distributing books in San Francisco. So I have told this in Gita in a nutshell. One guy was walking by, and on his shirt it was written, I used to be an atheist. So I felt good. Used to be. Now things are changing. And then he crossed it, and on the back of the t-shirt was mentioned, till the time I realized I am God. Right? That is what people have philosophy. Here, if you see in India also, you will see some of the spiritual gurus. Their fundamental is that you can become God. You can become God. If you are God, that means you should be absolute. Then why are we suffering? Right? Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. Brahmaji, when he comes, the first thing he sings is this prayer. Ishvara Parama Krishna. That Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Ishvara means controller. We discussed, right? Each and every one of us are
Spirit soul.
Satchidananda.
Correct. But I was talking about controllership. Each and every one of us are small controller. Each one of us are somewhere or the other a small controller, right? See, husband is trying to control his wife. Wife is trying to control her husband, and kids are actually controlling both of them. Right? Like she keeps controlling me in the morning. Focus is completely on her. Each and every one of us is trying to be the controller in some or the other way, minute quantity. But Ishvara, Parama, who is able to control everything? Brahmaji is saying it's Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha. And that is made of, obviously, truth, blissfulness, and we discuss that knowledge. Anadir Adir Govinda. It doesn't have any beginning or end. Sarva Karna Karna. Cause of all causes. When you see something, you say, why this has happened? Maybe because of this. Okay, why that has happened? Because of that. What is the cause of this? Because of that. So, Brahmaji is saying that once you do that analysis, cause analysis of one after another, then you will come to know that the final thing that goes to is Krishna. Brahmaji is saying. Like for example, wood, from where that wood comes, from earth, from where that earth comes. Like if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, you will understand that entire hierarchy. So then Brahmaji is saying Sarva Karna Karna. So there are various philosophies, but here one has to understand that one who is addicted to Krishna, one who has faith in Krishna, only they can write something about Bhagavad Gita. And in introduction, if you see the last page of introduction, 31 page. Oh no, in your case it will be something else.
Study.
31 page, if you see, there is some names, 32 names. Page 32, yes. So if you see, it starts from Krishna and all the way it goes to A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So that's why Srila Prabhupada is showing that whatever I am speaking based on Bhaktivedanta Sri Thakur, what my Guru taught me. And he is teaching from Gauru Kishore Bhattacharya Babaji, from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and all that way it goes to Krishna. And Krishna in the 4th chapter will explain that how the knowledge was lost, and then again he is re-establishing this knowledge through Arjuna. And this is known as disciplic succession.
Why number 22 name is Bolton?
Lord Chaitanya.
Oh, Lord Chaitanya. It's bolded in your case?
Yeah.
Good, in my case it is not bolded. Anyways, Lord Chaitanya, we'll discuss that more in future chapters, but just to give a glimpse, Krishna, when he left, just before Kali Yuga was about to start, he left the world. And then when he left the world, the sages were thinking, now he is going, that means religion will go away. If religion will go away, then who will? Dharma will go away. If Dharma is gone, then the only thing that will happen in Kali Yuga will be destruction. Not just physical destruction, but mental, spiritual, everything will be destroyed. There is no Dharma. If there is no Dharma, then everything will be gone. Imagine there is no law. There is no law, right? So like Krishna leaving, it was like sages felt that Dharma is there. Religion is gone. What will happen? Religion is not Christianity, Hindu, Muslim, not that religion. Religion, Dharma has Sanskrit, not easily it can be converted to English. Dharma has a very lot of different connotations. Parodharmo, aparodharmo, lot of. So they said, topmost religion, where will it take shelter in? So it takes shelter in Srimad Bhagavatam. And that's why when Krishna left, Srimad Bhagavatam came. And we will see that story when we get a chance to read Srimad Bhagavatam, about how Srimad Bhagavatam came into being. But Srimad Bhagavatam came, but how to practice spirituality? Right? Books are there, but how to practice spirituality? So Krishna came in the form of Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya is none other than Krishna himself. And the Hare Krishna mantra just that we were chanting actually came from Lord Chaitanya. Obviously it is mentioned in Kali Sankirtana Upanishad and many other scriptures that for Kali Yuga, what is the dharma? Is to chant the holy names of the Lord. If you see during Treta, during Satyug, we used to do, people, sages used to do meditation. Meditation they used to do. Standing on one leg, keeping one hand up. For thousands and thousands of years you will see people doing meditation. That was during Satyuga. For every yuga there is different dharma. For Dwapar Yuga, the dharma was to do sacrifices. If you see Lord Ramchandra, he did Ashwamedha Yajna. Although he was supreme personality of Godhead, but he is still following the dharma. And during Satyuga you will see Dhruva Maharaj, he is doing meditation. For different yugas there is different dharma. During Dwapar Yuga, so I said Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga. During Dwapar Yuga, the main focus, the main dharma is deity worship.
Deity worship.
You can do the sacrifices, you can do meditation, which is meditation. You can do all that, but focus, the dharma is deity worship. And you see in Srimad Bhagavatam, when Krishna's pastimes are going on, you will see that the queens are going to the temple, they are worshipping the deities. All that pastimes you will see, because that is a dharma. And during Kali Yuga, the scriptures explain that during Kali Yuga, the dharma should chant the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. To give that dharma, to explain what it really means, how to chant the holy name of the Lord, for the Lord Chaitanya came, who is none other than Krishna himself. That is the exterior meaning. There is internal meaning also, which is too early to say now. We will come to that. Yes. No, you can go ahead. No, go ahead.
So, in the beginning of all this, you said that, like in science theories, we make assumptions. So, here we need to make an assumption, come axiomatic, saying that Krishna is the supreme, and only then we can try to understand what is going on in the Bhagavad Gita. So, but in science, many of those assumptions are baseless, they turn out to be false. If we compare this to just another assumption like that, then...
Yes, so good question. There are two things. One is Swadhyaya, another one is Sadhana. Swadhyaya means theory. If you see, Big Bang theory is theory. That's why it's called Big Bang theory. So that is like Swadhyaya, theoretical. And second thing is sadhana, practice. So you have started an assumption, you do experiment. That's why I said experiment you have to do. Experiment, and then you find that okay, my assumption was correct, otherwise it will fail. Correct? So similarly, in this yuga, the sadhana is the holy names of the Lord. And when you chant holy names of the Lord, when you do this swadhyaya and you do this sadhana, and you do these two things, then at the end, Krishna is explaining that one understands that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Through that process, one might say, I don't believe Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. But did you apply that process? So when you apply that process, then Krishna reveals himself. But for that experiment has to be done. But if we don't do that experiment, and we discuss that experiment in basic 5 experiments are A, B, C, D, E. A for association, B for reading the books, C for chanting, D for deity worship, or one can think of having a right diet. And 5th is etiquettes. But when we talk about practice or experiment, it's actually chanting the holy names of the Lord. Chanting the holy names of the Lord. We also discuss, sometimes we say, we don't see Krishna, we don't see spirit, soul. How can we then believe on it, right? Let's see, if I tell you, I want to weigh your weight through a thermometer. You'll say, you're mad or what? How can you weigh my weight? Why not? We can, right? If thermometer can tell what is the temperature of your body, you can also tell what is the weight of your body. What is the difference? No, for different tools you cannot use. There are certain tools you can use certain things for. Similarly, the things that we have, the tools that we have, are material, gross. And when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, when we read Bhagavad Gita, we understand that spirit soul is subtle, is very, very subtle. There is gross body, subtle body, and there is subtler than the subtle. That is spirit soul. So when material things, when we are using material tools to understand spirit, it will not work out, we cannot find out. But when we chant the holy names of the Lord, and we read Bhagavad Gita, then slowly. And what is the proof? We see that previous acharyas, what they have seen. And from that, Jnana Chakshu it's called. You see through knowledge. And from that, slowly. At the start, for everything we need faith. See, when you are driving, how many of you have gone in Uber? How many of you have asked for license? Why? Arey, galat ho gaya. But you have faith. You go to the hospital. The doctor is, he has this knife or something. What if that little bit inch goes up and down? What will happen? You have so much faith. Forget that. When you go for haircutting only. Right? Have you seen that Mr. Bean? Once Bean goes to the shop, and he thinks that okay, I'll get some money out of it. So he only becomes a barber, and then completely removes the hair only. Right? But that is still hair. What about head? We have faith. In everything we need to have some faith. Ado Shraddha Tata Sadhu. It says the basic that starts with the spirituality is we need to have some faith. But then if we practice, if we apply that experiment by chanting the name of the Lord, that faith becomes stronger. And then certain points Krishna will reveal himself. Think about it. Srila Prabhupada, I showed that video in Gita in a nutshell. Srila Prabhupada, that is when he was leaving the world. Srila Prabhupada is the author of Bhagavad Gita. Author in the sense, commentary of this book, Bhagavad Gita as it is. When he was leaving the world, that time also he was speaking the commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. When you're leaving the world, you might think, "Arey bas ho gaya, ab bas ho gaya, itna सारे temples बना है, अब chill मारना है." Right? On that deathbed also, he was actually speaking. The commentary was speaking on Srimad Bhagavatam. Till 10th canto, he was able to finish. Why? He would have got some experience that we might not know. Right? He would have got some experience. You see so many examples of that. If you see Shastras, there are example. But we need to have faith. If we say it's a mythology, then it's gone. Dhruv Maharaj, Gajendra, Srimad Bhagavatam is filled up with stories. But that application is needed. If we just do theoretical, it doesn't work. The application is needed. So, Swadhyaya and Sadhana both goes together. You had a question? Go ahead. If that
Answer.
Why do we have different yugas? We have Kali Yuga, we have Dwapara Yuga and all these yugas. Why do we need them? Why not just Satya Yuga, whatever you said, like when people meditate?
Oh, so there is a day. Everything that starts has to end. If there is a start and there is no end, then it's not material. 5 things Krishna speaks in Gita. Anyways, we'll keep that separate in future session. But everything that starts has to end. Do you agree? The watch that you are wearing, which watch is that? Apple Watch. Someday or the other it will be destroyed. Like my wife is special. How she destroys watches is she puts in the washing machine. That's how the first watch got destroyed. Anyways, jokes apart. Anything that has to start has to end. If Satyuga will always be Satyuga, then how the degradation will happen? Your body also. See, when childhood is there, nice, everything is going nicely, right? Then you become adult. That is during childhood you are not able to walk also. Things are little haywire, right? When you become adult, things are perfect. That time, that is that's when we want to enjoy the most because body is giving full freedom to enjoy. Ye zindagi milega na dobara, right? That kind of thinking is there, right? So, but that is a peak. But then it is deteriorating. And during the old age, you will say, "Chahiye bhi nahi wapas dobara." Ho gaya mera. I am done with this world, right? Anything that starts has to end. That is the definition of the material world. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita will explain that. Arjuna says, "What is the definition of Bhagavad Gita?" That's what we discussed, right? First session was that only. What is the definition of Bhagavad Gita? Of material world. Answer: Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. It is full of miseries. And ashashvatam, it is temporary. And that is why you have Dwapara Yuga, Satyuga, and in every yuga, one leg of dharma. There are 4 legs of dharma. You can remember it as mast: mercy, austerity, shaucham, cleanliness, and truthfulness. At every yuga, one leg of dharma is going. And finally, now the only leg that is remaining is truthfulness. I know you will be thinking truthfulness. That is true. But there is a reason why still scriptures or acharyas say that truthfulness is still there. And that is the reason is because of the presence of scriptures. Slowly when scriptures will also go away, truthfulness will also not remain.
What about mercy? Mercy is still there, right?
Where? There are slaughterhouses everywhere. There is no mercy now anymore. See, at some level it is there. Some level austerity is also there. Austerity is so much there. Till 3 o'clock people are awake to watch a Netflix movie. I mean, that's austerity. Imagine. Right? You are able to sustain yourself till 3 a.m. to watch a Netflix movie. That's austerity. But it's a degraded austerity. It's not really an austerity. I mean, obviously, there are sadhus who are doing austerity at some level. But very rare, very, very less. Austerity also people are not able to do so much. Austerity means, I mean, earlier people used to, Dhruv Maharaj, he didn't breathe only for 1 month. That's when Brahmaji came. Okay, yaar, breathe kar le. Because through his power, he was creating havoc in the world. I mean, these are austerities. We, in 1 second only, we need breathing. You know, that anilom malom, we do breathing and all. Austerity is that bad. Austerities were that. Cleanliness, I mean, what cleanliness? Once there was a rich guy, he came to Srila Prabhupada. He was a very rich guy. He was the one who was actually building the Jew temple. He gave the land and everything. He was doing the construction. So the disciples of Srila Prabhupada came, took him along with, and they thought that Srila Prabhupada will say some encouraging words. I mean, imagine he's building a temple and all. So the disciples took, let's meet the Acharya who is, whose temple, I mean, for whom you are. So this guy came to Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada, first thing he asked him, so how are you? He said, yeah, I'm good. And then he said, why don't you have some food now? It was around 10 o'clock or something. He said, have some prasadam. So he said, yeah, I already had prasadam. So he said, oh, you already had prasadam. So what time you got up? He said, 9 o'clock. He said, 9 o'clock you got up. And then when did you do prasadam? When did you eat? Directly on the bed. And then he said, breakfast in the bed? What is the difference between you and an animal? He didn't even clean himself. He didn't go to bathroom. He didn't take a bath. Directly, it's a fashion. Bed, we say bed tea. What do we call it? Something.
Bed coffee.
That's, huh?
Bed coffee.
Bed coffee, right? That's unclean. First thing is you have to bathe yourself. There are two kinds of bathing that you do in the morning. Externally you bathe through the water. Internally you bathe through chanting the holy names of the Lord. So cleanliness is no longer there. Cleanliness also. I mean, when I was in college, I mean, there are people used to just put perfume and they used to come to no, and nobody will come to know. No bath only. No bath. That is not culture. That is uncleanliness. And that's what is degrading. That's degrading slowly. And it will degrade more. That's animal life. Sort of animal life. See, they don't take bath, right? Every day do you see puppy going near the water? So when you ask, austerity. It's there. Cleanliness still there. You'll see some people having some cleanliness. I mean, drinking only, that's an unclean thing. Imagine, you are...
But drinking is happening in all the ages, right? Satyug, Kalyug,
No, but that drinking is not like you are tuned near the gutter. So, if you're doing something like that also, then you're punished also. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a pastime. So, you can enjoy, you have got certain things, but it's not like this kind of, that somaras is also good somaras. It's not degraded somaras where grapes are completely fermented and it's like poison. It's not like that. So anyways, we are on chapter 2. Chapter 2. So, did that answer your question?
Yeah.
What was your question? Yeah, Satyuga. Satyuga, Kali Yuga. So, Kali Yuga is the last Yuga. And one day of Brahma has 71 Yuga cycles. Anyways, we'll discuss that some other time.
I have a question. So this is my first time listening to Gita. I'm just curious if this is in line with non-dual philosophy or it's more like Karma Yoga or...
When non-dual, when you said, it means one.
Yeah.
Right? That is little bit Mayavad philosophy. If you see, some of you might...
What is non-dual philosophy, first of all?
Non-dual means I and God are same.
It's basically the guy who was walking in SF with the teacher.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah. That is non-dual.
Yeah.
That is non-dual. One. Ek. हम सब एक है. There is no difference you and me. You and me are same. At the end, सबको merge होना है. Whatever, they will have some concept. Nirakar. That is Nirakar. Once you will merge. And lot of philosophies right now also there. They will say Nirakar. हम merge जाएंगे. Monism. Shunya. And even within India also, lot of things are like rampant also. So that is Shunyavadi. But then There was reason also that happened. It was started by Shankaracharya, and there is a reason why that happened, because it was actually Shankaracharya is an incarnation of Lord Shiva, and there is a pastime where Lord Shiva is very, very upset, and Parvati is asking, what happened, why are you so upset? So Lord Shiva is saying that I am upset because soon I will be going to earth and I will be spreading monism, and he himself is Vaishnava. Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. Of all the Vaishnavas, topmost is Lord Shiva. And Parvati says, why are you doing? And he says, that is the will of the Lord Vishnu. I have to do this. And there is a history why he was asked. But then from there, Shankaracharya, because Buddhism became very rampant. Why Buddhism became rampant? That's also a reason. Because Brahmanas started misusing the Vedic scriptures. In Vedic scriptures, Brahmanas are given very, very high position. When you see Srimad Bhagavatam also, there is a pastime where Vishnu is telling a Brahmana, I am sorry. Imagine. Lord Vishnu, he is Bhagwan. But he is also offering, he is saying sorry. The point is again, Brahmanas are giving very high status. But it is not by birth. Krishna is saying Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarnyam Maya Shishtam. The Chaturvarnyam, the 4 varnas are not by birth, but by karma. Karma Yoga Vibhagasha, he says. It's by karma. Anyways, so Brahmanas were misusing in the name of Vedic scriptures. And then Buddhism came. Who is Buddha? If you see scriptures, it's one of the incarnation of Lord Vishnu. So Vishnu is coming and saying that don't believe in scriptures, Vedic scriptures. He has only spoken Vedic scriptures to Brahmaji, right? And that's Srimad Bhagavatam, all the Vedic scriptures, all the Vedas, everything was spoken by Krishna to Brahma. And then Vishnu is coming as Buddha and saying that don't believe in it. Why? Because people are misusing it. That's why Buddhism is a theism in the sense that it doesn't believe in Vedic scriptures at all. Slowly then they started Buddha, but first it was only Nirakar. Nothing is there. But now we have to establish Vedic scriptures again. So then Shankaracharya came, and then he started with we are all one. Slowly. And then after that Madhvacharya came, then Ramanujacharya came, Vishishta Advaita. Vishishta Advaita means two. Dual is there. Ramanujacharya is I am separate, Krishna is separate. We both are separate. But then finally Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, and he says that Achintya Vedave. He says we are one also, and we are separate also. We are separate in identity. Means you are a spirit soul, obviously Krishna is supreme spirit, supreme soul, super soul. But you are a spirit soul, I am a spirit soul. We are separate. But in quality, we are same. Each and every quality that Krishna has, a jiva, a living entity also has all those qualities. But the difference is in the quantity. The difference in the quantity. It's like ocean is there. You take a mug of water out of the ocean. The qualities are same. But you can't say that mug of water as ocean. Similarly, you cannot say a jiva as God only because he has the same qualities. But that qualities have minute, quantity is less. So, same in quality but different in quantities and entities. That's why every incarnation there is a reason that we need to understand. For every reason, for every incarnation there is a reason behind it. Why certain things are happening. So, third, where we were redefining success. Now we have to just rush. So, redefining success is the first one. Second chapter we discussed about rediscovering identity. Now we need to understand who am I. Third, fourth, fifth chapters, these 3 chapters talks about repositioning our lifestyle. Right? We are all working. Arjuna asked Krishna that I'm confused. In one level you say, do work, renounce everything, renounce your work, and then you're saying work in devotion. What should I do? A lot of times people say, right, hey, according to me, spirituality means you have to go to the forest alone, nobody should be there, and alone you should meditate there. Or go to some Himalayas, till the time you succumb to death by the cold, till the time you should keep meditating. That is renunciation, right? Sadhu. Correct? So, what exactly one has to do? And then you see other people also who are sadhus, but they are in this world, they are practicing. So Arjuna asked same question to Krishna, ki bhai, काय करायचं? What should we do? Either renunciation of work or work in devotion. So what should I do? So that is repositioning our lifestyle. What exactly, how we should work. So third chapter talks about Karma Yoga, fourth chapter talks about Jnana Yoga, fifth chapter about Karma Yoga in Krishna consciousness, action in Krishna consciousness. It talks like that. It talks all about how our work should be. How our work should be. What consciousness we should have when we are doing our work. Sixth chapter talks about remolding our mind. First was redefining success. Second was rediscovering ourselves. Third to fifth we discussed what it was. Repositioning our lifestyle. Sixth talks about mind. That is remolding our mind. It talks about how our mind, markatasya surapanam, our mind is like a monkey. Right now also if I tell you for entire 1.5 hours, I hope you didn't think of anything else except whatever I was speaking. Mazak kar rahe ho. Right? Mind is so, keep jumping. Chanchala mana Krishna. Arjuna tells to Krishna. Krishna tells to Arjuna, remold your mind. How we will see in 6th chapter. Then 7th, 8th and 9th talks about reawakening the love. Reawakening the love. 7th, 8th and 9th chapter. That's where the Bhakti Yoga starts. So first 6 chapters talks more on Karma Yoga. 7th, 8th, 9th talks about knowledge of the absolute truth. And all those sections are very beautiful chapters. The middle 6 chapters are beautiful. Entire Yoga, but still. The middle 6 is Bhakti Yoga. So 7th, 8th, 9th talks about reawakening that dormant love. That divine love, reawakening it again. And Krishna talks about how you can do it. 10th, 11th and 12th. These 3 chapters, it talks about reconnecting with the Lord. Krishna gives various ways by which one can connect with the Lord again. Connect with Krishna, connect with Supreme again. Sometimes we say that, no, Krishna dikhte nahi hai, how can I believe in Krishna? How, we have that question sometimes. Krishna says various ways. You can see me. There are different ways by which you can see me. And that is in 10th, 11th and 12th chapter. 11th chapter he shows the Virat Rupa. 12th chapter he talks about, sometimes people think that मेरे से इतना नहीं हो पाएगा. Krishna बोलते don't worry, ये नहीं हो पाएगा, ये कर ले. ये भी नहीं हो पाएगा, ये ठीक है, ये कर ले. ये भी नहीं हो पाएगा, ये कर ले. So like that Krishna is giving various, भाई तू इतना कर ले last में. So there are various levels. Sometimes we think that God is some autocrat, No, he is very, very merciful. So that 10th, 11th and 12th chapter talks about reconnecting with the Supreme. And then 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, all these chapters talks about reconfiguring the energy. What it means is, we are in this material world, so we are interacting the material energy. But how that material energy should be used so that it doesn't degrade us, but it takes us closer to our goal of life, which is to become servant of the Lord. We'll see that, what it means. But to become, basically to serve Krishna, that is our final goal. Some way or the other, serve devotees. But how to use that energy, so reconfiguring that energy, that is explained in 13 to 17 chapters. It's all about material world, everything about material world. So one major thing it is discusses, 15th chapter talks about that how this world is temporary. Have you seen that scene in Mr. Bean? He goes into the hotel, and when he goes into the hotel, he sees that the color of the room is not good. So he goes outside, he buys a paint, he colors the hotel room, and then he puts a picture. Then he cuts the hall so that there is an entry between the hall and the kitchen, so that he can transfer the things like this. So, and then after 7 days he's going to leave the hotel, right? So we also, we do so many tamjam as if we are going to stay here forever 21, something like that, right? But we come to know that surprise, dukhalam shashvatam, right? Like footballers are there, they are playing with the ball and they are kicking, and we think that we are the footballer kicking the ball, but actually we are the ball. We are getting kicked by the 3 modes. It also, this 13 to 17 chapters, as I said, material world, it also talks about mode of passion, mode of goodness, mode of ignorance. everything that you do can be done in these three modes. Even sleeping can be done in mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. Once you have a car, how you drive your car also can be mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. Right? Must nicely, and then you're driving the car, or maybe completely in sleep, you're driving the car, mode of ignorance. It could be mode of goodness, it could be mode of passion completely. Suddenly you, when you get a car, although it's a Toyota, you feel like a Ferrari, boom. Right? So everything Krishna is saying in this 13 to 17 chapters, everything that you do can be done in these three modes. And we discussed that, moods and modes. You remember Gita in Nutshell series, we did that. We'll discuss more in detail, we'll go through every verse if we can. But 13 to 17 talks about that. In 18th chapter, final chapter, talks about reviving our purpose. Finally, Krishna asked Arjuna that, okay, I've told you everything, but you do what you feel right. And then he understood. He says that I have understood the purpose now. I have understood what I have to do. That is like the climax of Bhagavad Gita. Every day you put alarm. How many of you think you are actually getting up by alarm? No. You are actually getting up by some purpose. And it could be different. For a saint, the purpose would be I have to get up and I have to do my round. I have to get up and I have to complete my chanting. I have to do my meditation. Or I have to do my reading. Right? That can be the purpose. For him to get up in the morning. Even if the alarm is ringing, still, he might shut off. Right? But why is he getting up? It's not because the alarm was ringing, but because there is a purpose. And if that purpose is shaky, then it's ringing, you will take a gun, and there is some serial, I think B only. He had a gun and he was shooting the alarm, gone, right? Or your purpose can be, I have to get up in the morning so that I can start my work. That is your purpose. But reviving your purpose, Arjuna revived his purpose. Or it could be that I just had a peg of whiskey, I fell asleep, I have to get up again so that I can have another peg. That can be the purpose. So Arjuna is saying that you have to revive your purpose. And Arjuna did that in 18th chapter. So like that, we went through 8 hours. And like entire Bhagavad Gita will be summarized like that. So here are Krishna Mataji. Actually we'll do 2 minutes kirtan. Because as we said, the main dharma of this entire Kali Yuga is to chant the holy names of the Lord. In fact, should I share something? I was thinking of telling about next class, but can you say the first akshara of this Bhagavad Gita when it starts? First akshara, which is the first chapter. Yeah, the Dhar, right? Dhritarashtra. And the last akshara of this chapter, of this entire book is, let's go, Ma. Dharma. Entire Bhagavad Gita is focused on actually explaining what is the real dharma. It starts from there and it ends at Ma. It's all about dharma. People think that it's all adharma phalate hai log. No, it's all about dharma. This entire Bhagavad Gita talks about dharma. Okay, we'll do a 2-minute kirtan and then we'll start.